Hi everyone, Kyriakos Iliadis again. Today, a little bit differently, I want to tell you about. I've got people always asking me, but you know what? I can't work with people. I hate the group of people that I'm in. You know what? I've put in an effort, but I never get recognized. You know, I can't speak to people. I don't know how to present myself to people, or I'm embarrassed to talk to people. So I thought I'd change it a little bit. I'll give you a bit of an example. Firstly, I want to thank all the teachers out there for their constant contribution, their patience. You know what? I take my hat off to all teachers. You know, sometimes when I listen to people on the holidays, they just say, "Oh, geez, I can't wait for the holidays to finish so my kids can go back to school." You see, so thank you to all the teachers out there, for the wonderful work that they do. And today I want to compare things, and that's why I'm talking about teachers today. A lot of the things that we do at school, we can relate back to business. And I'm going to try to do it this way a little bit differently to explain certain things. So I'll get told, I can't talk to people. I don't have that guts to stand up in front of people. I'm embarrassed. In school, we were taught to go back home, learn a poem, or learn something that we had to talk about, and we would stand in front of a class and talk. So, what I'm saying is that, we all are born with abilities to do things. We just make the decision not to use it. And that's where I'm actually going to go with this. So, for instance, you know what? I can't work with people in my office or in my factory. And I say, but you know what? In school, we were taught to have 30 and 40 and 50 people in a class, and we were taught to work with them. So you've been given that lesson in life. Now, we choose not to work with people. But you know what? In class, for all the years, we had to go to class. We had to stay with our fellow students. And, we had to wait for that year to finish and see who was going to get promoted. A lot of it has got to do with business. We will also get people who say, you know what, I like to work by myself. So then that's fine. That's why you used to play sports by yourself. You used to play tennis, maybe. You maybe played squash. Maybe you did chess. Same thing. Did it in school, doing it in life. Those examples are there all the time. We were taught to take an idea, to go back home and say, we had to, for argument's sakes, they expected us to build something. May it be, I'll use like for instance with my son, Dad, we need to build a radio controlled car, or we need to build offices, as a project out of cardboards and that. So we're given an idea from a very young age, and we go back home and we think about it. And how do we create it into a reality so that we can get marks? And that's what it is. So we go back home, we think, we communicate with our parents. That's how life is. We come up with an idea in business. If we do not know how to do it on our own, we communicate with people. And that is how an idea becomes a reality. So, I look at my kids a lot, and if you don't have kids, just think back at when you were in school. But, my kids still today, they teach me things every single day. I will see, for instance, my kids study late at night because they have a test. It's a commitment. Same thing in your work. It's a commitment. Now, if a child can do that, how can an adult not do that? I will see, for argument's sakes, I'll take my son. He's got to actually say a poem. He will say every 5 minutes, Dad, can I read it to you? What do you think about it? Wake up early in the morning, Dad, can I read it again to you? Come on. We're talking about 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12 years old, even smaller children, all ages. That's what they do. They read it over and over and over and over. Isn't that what we've got to do ourselves? We've got to also prepare ourselves how to sell. We got to do some effort. Most importantly, we got to be proud. I mean, you look at a child when he's done a presentation and a poem and he's spoken, how that smile is. It's priceless. We learn that from a young age. It's the same as a salesperson. Have you ever seen somebody who comes to sell to you and he's passionate and he's telling you that this is something that you will be proud of to buy from me or allow my business to do it for you? That's the same thing. I remember the time, one of the most proudest moments in my life, when I saw my daughter stand up in front of a whole group of classmates, and she had to speak. It wasn't just classmates. It was basically, all that whole standard from where she was right down to the bottom, and how she spoke with confidence. And I said to myself, you know what? Here's my daughter doing it. Why can't I do that? And I went the next day, and you know what? I upped my game. My daughter opened my eyes. So what I'm actually trying to say to you is, you know what? We all got that ability. Sometimes we forget about it. So we need a bit of a reminder so that we can actually go and do it. I'll give you another example. For argument's sakes, we would actually do a group racing. We were taught to run, touch the other one's hand, or give the other one an object, and the other one would run. We were taught to work as a team. Why can't we do it in life as a business? Learn to work as a team. We were taught to do projects. And when we were struggling, to ask a friend in our group, why in business, if you are struggling, why don't you ask for help? We were taught that. All the lessons were given to us while growing up. We were given the tools to understand how to do this. But once again, we choose. I look at it when I go to the schools and I see the kids walk past and say, "Hello, sir," and I see a papers there, and I see a school kid go and pick it up, and I say to myself, "But that's the way we were taught. Why, when we in an environment of our own business, we will not pick up that paper and we wait for somebody else to come and do it?" We were taught, be proud of your school, be proud of your business. Be proud of your work environment. These are things that we were taught from a very young age. We were taught to dress neatly. Make sure our hair, I don't have hair anymore, but when we did, make sure your hair was combed. Make sure you were shaved. Make sure your tie was correct. If you were a girl or a boy, it was all the same. I walk into businesses and I see people, it's a disgrace how they look. First appearance is always important when working face to face with somebody. But we were taught all of those things. Once again, people always want all the recognition. Come on, if you want to be a top guy up top there, sometimes you have to allow your team also to get recognition. I'll give you an example. You go and you help your child to make a project or write an essay, and they do exceptionally well. Do you want them at school to say, "My father did it"? Or do you want them to say your child's name and say, "Well done to that individual child for creating such a great project or essay"? Or do you want them to say, "It was the father so-and-so"? No, you want your child to get the recognition. So the question is, if you're up top there and you have people around you, why Do you always want to take the recognition? Allow the recognition to be given to the people underneath you. That's how you create great sales force, great team. Share. We were taught in school, you know what? Try not to use vulgar language. We were taught these things. Learn to work with everybody. Learn to work with everybody. But when we leave school, we sometimes forget these things. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're a bit stuck in life, look at your children. If you don't have children, try to remember. Or look at another child, family, friends. Look at their children. Look at the sacrifice. I look at, for instance, children in the winter. They might moan and groan, but they still go to school every day. They go and do their hours. They go in the morning. They get picked up. They do their homework. And they go to bed. Same thing with us. We need to get up. We need to make sure that we're well dressed. We need to go to work. We need to put in those hours. And when we get home, doesn't mean that that's when work needs to end. We need to do our homework. Think, how are we going to offer value tomorrow? So I like to use that as an example because we live in that environment every day. And once again, you know what? Well done to all the teachers, because, they are the ones who never actually get all the recognition that they deserve. I mean, I look at a person that says, you know what, if I'm going to work that extra half an hour or an hour, you need to pay me. Or, you know what, I can't give up my weekends. Or they say to me, after 5, I don't take my calls anymore. But you know what, I look at it with teachers and I look at it with my own kids, and they've really opened my eyes to a lot of things, because sometimes we take a lot of things for granted. I would see an SMS to a teacher, sorry, am I doing this? And 7, 8 o'clock, teachers are replying, helping. Weekends, there's sports days. Teachers are giving up their time because they want their schools, they want their kids to do well. I mean, they don't stop. They take those tests at home and they mark them. So I'm saying to you at the end of the day, why be so selfish and not give your team members, your staff, the people that you work with, those opportunities that you were learned in school? Learn to work with people. Learn to give recognition. Learn not to always just be about the 5 o'clock, the Fridays you stop. I can't help you after hours. It doesn't work like that. If every day we are learning things, how to become better salespeople, every single day. We forget, look, we've all got it. It's in us. We sell in different ways. Everybody's selling something. But, we forget. So sometimes we need to be reminded. And that's important. Thanks very much. Iliadis Kyriakos.